the first to know in Nsem-Pii TV.
And a Supreme Court, the apex court of the land, echo asetina. Na nina Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral System. Abam kopi mo Supreme Court na nina efa yemame Chief Justice Torkonoo His Excellency John Dramani Mahama a suspending on na numakwe chem say anka Supreme Court enka bi mo cause kwaya His Excellency John Dramani Mahama efa so suspended Chief Justice Torkonoo no eni nyina so bia na two omo hwe na committee a wate a omo investigate the petition for the removal of Chief Justice Torkonoo no omo hwe na omo hote committee no dwumadie bia omo di enso entene de courtroom ho no Supreme Court de ye pa na yenko tie obi abraoje report no live every reporter ho ewo Supreme Court bae abra remakio from census citizenship constitutional and electoral system ekopi mo Supreme Court senka court no and Supreme Court enka bi mo akwanya His Excellency John Dramani Mahama efa so suspend Chief Justice Torkonoo no wan family kwan so ana eni nyina so bia na committee a wate na omo sai hwe nsem no kebeya omo munja dwumadi bia omo ye yenje bre ni ntie obi ene reporter no
Appointment Supreme Court Abdul Latif Idrisu in court correspondent in Nkomo na yemra Latif akwa bana apprentice en
na adom
ya inti boyimu ene Supreme Court dey na si ho
so ene answer na ye be court no na we really had information about one case ni monyamfo ye freno Theodore Kofi Ata kwe besom Supreme Court say anka processes are president na chasye enko wieche no ebia current chief justice ya suspended no ebia e be yi ne fi ni position as chief justice no anka Supreme Court no entry so order na entry processes no so answer. That was the idea the bar court and by every do court no na say sir there is a case application be a group be so file it, also trying to achieve the same net result if you like, that ultimately no say court na make a similar determination on the applications now on file here. So court no shall see the new case a group file a case no omudin the
Center for Citizenship,
Center for exactly
Constitutional and Electoral Systems
and Electoral Systems.
Yes.
And so court no shall say omu that particular matter. And the argument of the plaintiff in this particular case, no, so the argument is say, in court, no, in order say the committee now president has set it up, no, it will be null and void and it will be unconstitutional because President Nimunan Kasano acquire offer so from the outset setting up the committee every week they are met say 3 times in a week to hear the matter. Nimunano any so be our emrem into court no emma interlocutory injunction so that almost sitting no and a proceedings no and a inquiry ni no nka court no emfa interlocutory injunction no so so that court no yes akra now nobody according to their case no obi any who obe suffer any damages because after all there is an acting chief justice or even though the substantive chief justice no has been suspended. No, there is an acting chief justice. Into no, there's not going to be any injury or minor be suffer if the court takes such a decision. That was the thrust of the argument. And the argument again was that the president has not made available to the suspended chief justice copies of the prima facie determination. This was very contentious in open courts today, that the president has not made copies of the prima facie determination available to the chief justice who has been suspended. Into the process is in the court should place the interlocutory injunction on the process, particularly the committee now, inquiry into the whole matter. Now, the panel is a 5-member panel.
Okay.
That was presided by the acting chief justice, his lordship, Justice Paul Bafuboni. And then we also had Justice Isifu Umuro Tanko Amadu.
Sure.
There was Justice Yuni Kolendi and Justice Henry Anthony Kofi.
Okay.
And then Justice Yao Atare Daku.
Okay.
Now, omutie argument lawyers no MK, come out with a majority 4-1 decision. HSA Asemna Yadibeda in court, it was unmeritorious and until you dismiss as such. And I almost afraid the second case court, and then that was what we had in mind, Senka. That was the one filed by Theodore Kofi Atakwe,
yes,
who among other things, asked the court to place an interlocutory injunction also on the committee constituted by the president to potentially remove the chief justice from office. Now, Sir Plaintiff, he also asked the court, to suspend the operationalization of the warrant of suspension President now issue against the chief justice under Article 146(10)A of the 1992 Constitution. Now, it was their case that warrant, before the president can exercise that discretion, I say instrument be AP, I say echo parliament, not parliament, they consider it within some 21 days before the president will or can arrogate those powers to himself, for want of a better word, to issue that particular warrant. In the absence of that instrument, argument, they say president, one far and all they suspend the chief justice, and the court should place again an interlocutory injunction pending the substantive matter itself. And also, court, on a brief recess, they pronounced a 4-1 majority decision. HSA Assembly is unmeritorious, and those applications or that particular application was also dismissed by the 5-member panel.
Okay, now and also the same 5-member panel now.
Exactly the same 5-member panel.
Okay.
Theodore case also the organization also case also the Center for Center.
Yes.
I can't really recall
census. You're trying to kind of census into that's the center Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems. Penny Odano, the executive director of that center, Dr. James Kwabena Bonfe, and the organization.
And yes. Just to chip in this one, so in the argument of Dr. Bonfe lawyer, he made the claim that the president has not given copies of the prima facie determination to the chief justice. But that particular case, now chief justice, I am suspended or no, and also for a lawyer. Inti the lawyer Kwabena Edukusi, ono no represent Chief Justice Gertrude Torkonoo, because it is clear that the suspended Chief Justice, on the case, it doesn't align really with the case of the state. Into the Attorney General, in the sense of the suspended Chief Justice, Attorney General cannot represent her.
Yeah, but
the lawyer ever court.
Yeah, but more so, I will share the writ before the court now. Her ladyship Gertrude Araba Isaba Saki Torkonoo, a party to this case. Only a second defendant.
Second defendant.
Yeah, once a party, she should be represented in court, and that's why the lawyer echo,
Attorney General no represent chairman of the committee now, president established.
Okay.
That is Scott Poorman. And also represent the Attorney General.
The Attorney General.
So Dr. Justice Sh0cks and I represent Dr. Dominic Ayine.
Okay.
I'm raising this point because there was a stark contrast between, initially that was how it appeared.
Okay.
Between the argument of the lawyer for the organization and lawyer for the suspended Chief Justice. Because again, the lawyer for the organization made a point that the president has not furnished the suspended Chief Justice with copies of the prima facie determination. Now, lawyer Kwabena Edukusi, during Onone argument, he made the case that, in fact, there has not been any prima facie determination as far as his camp is concerned.
As far as the suspended Chief Justice may are concerned.
Yes, as far as on lawyer is concerned, there has not been any prima facie determination made by the president. So, raises some concerns among the panel. Because Nick clients, and as lawyer, almost say they entirely support the position of the lawyer representing the plaintiff. Support to plaintiff in our court. Now, plaintiff nankasa ka say president hasn't finished the suspended CJ with the prima facie determination. So you can interpret it to mean that so there's been a prima facie determination, but lawyer Kusinsu in his submission in Ekache court say as far as he is concerned there is no prima facie determination. He had to further explain in his explanation. Okache court say if there were any prima facie determination, it would have found its way in the content of the communication between the executive secretary to the president and the suspended Chief Justice. Abra or letter or communication, a man say a prima facie case has been made, and he will give reasons for that, for the establishment of the prima facie. But in the absence of reasons, it renders the whole suspension unreasonable and arbitrary. Those were the words I will use here. He has to explain, and then eventually he came to align with what the lawyer for the organization had made, that the president had not really furnished the Chief Justice or the suspended Chief Justice with the prima facie determination. The long and short is that at the end of the day, court say the case the Supreme Court is unmeritorious, and and the Dr. Bonfenso organization and the court and the same pattern. It's a 4-1 majority decision. The same person dissented on both, while the 4 others voted in the other direction.
The dissent here, justice made the dissent here on both. Hello, Latif.
Yeah, you.
Let me say justice is 5. No, why in the dissent here on both?
So the justices, let me just run you over the justices of the Supreme Court who sat on this particular matter. So we have the acting Chief Justice, Justice Pobafu Boni, who was presiding, Justice Isif Moro Tanko Amadou, Justice Yoni Kolende, Justice Henry Anthony Kopi, and Justice Yao Asare Dako. Justice Yao Asare Dako, Onuna Odisenti here on both cases in
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I am now Latif. Bibiani Ebeseba Bidin Komobio. Why? Very well. It is there you have it. And application may before the Apex Court of the Land by 4-1 majority decision. No court na abomi na atwegu. 2 applications no had some similarities. Said the Latif Ekaya no. Omunyina the net effect and say court na enshamfa tabuobi ento mampenyi process no eso. Said the Abeya Jumedia air course so more share suspended Chief Justice in Semono and Kibe Hodi on Kakra na Omasha can send me in every ansana or Mampenny Betwaswa, which me atwaso. Or more argument primarily and say Sawasha say petition call Mampenny when it's about the Chief Justice, it was say Mampenny Edema Council of State. Now, together with the president, we determine a prima facie. Prima facie say, "Yeshe petitioner ababeto yenimia. Ye free send ni pa e fan in this case, a Chief Justice no or Nsem-Pii no and only prima facie. And on the face of the petition, no, we feel say or Nsem-Pii was or baby no. Says how determination on Penny Council of State make here. Constitution is on Penny say on set up committee. Na committee no enhwehwe nsem se committee ni wie na omo de omo report ebro man pay okay ya hwe nsem no awie ye free say Chief Justice otna odi na djuma enye yi nti oman panyin ma ntina nchen and say manin kofie oman panyin is bound by that also oman panyin dey no ye adjuma so amaka ya hwe nsem ni mu ye free say o say ma me ne to na adjuma so a oman panyin ni eni ho asem bi aka e wo so to na adjuma so de James Kwabnabon for group yi and one Theodore or medical court no extreme timer on Penny Council of State determined say former suspended Chief Justice was semi also baby no na e was say omode enyina so a omode determined say de kokoma maame no say okay ya hwe nsem no kakra ya ma wo the response by ya hwe petition abeda yanim ye free say wo nsem bia wo say wi no ba we nti and you free say one some was say we are no and was say omampanyin sa de emma suspended Chief Justice no and no much say sa de omampanyin anye and nam so mo de court say saint sa de nti no otoko so ko form a committee ne kra no just say enye mra kwan so and a Supreme Court ka say there be na omo nkyere ba bi e constitution article 146 kire say was so omampanyin say omoye prima facie determination ni wi a e wo so omoma Chief Justice aso ete omo nkyere bibisa enio e na court na abo nsem no ato ediego nti baby ayewo sisi a eno no ye behwe say yensaka Dr. James Kwabnabonfe the group or executive director Emma census na Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems sa kuoi enede Assembly Echo Supreme Court. Idinya James Kwabnabonfe no ebedi hu enkomo. By in a related development, no, there is another petition before the president. This time, no, and it said, Omampenyi and the Council of State, omo determine prima facie area, no, Omampenyi put together a committee. Na sa committee, no, penyi a oda no, a justice of the Supreme Court ono any penya oda ano the His Lordship Gabriel Scott Praman and another justice of the Supreme Court in so eka ho Justice Asiedu ansa na Ghana for me ensa omunya lawyer for omunya members of parliament omo so eka ho in Ghana for me ensa no former Auditor General eka ho any